The Omni Talk Fast 5 is brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Avalara. Avalara makes tax compliance faster, easier, more accurate, and more reliable for 30,000 plus business and government customers in over 90 countries. Avalara leverages 1,200 plus signed partner integrations to power tax calculations, document management, tax return filing, and tax content access. Visit avalara.com to improve your compliance journey. And Miracle. Miracle is the global leader in platform business innovation for e-commerce. Companies like Macy's, Nordstrom, and Kroger use Miracle to build disruptive growth and profitability through marketplace, dropship, and retail media. For more information, visit miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com. And Own It AI. Own It AI helps the world's leading retailers advance their e-commerce shopping experiences with AI. To learn more, visit ownit.co. And finally, Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split their purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com. You are listening to OmniTalk's Retail Fast 5, ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally and currently ranked in the top 100 of all business podcasts on Apple Podcasts. The Retail Fast 5 is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each week too. And the Fast 5 is just one of the many great podcasts you can find from OmniTalk Retail's podcast network, alongside our Retail Daily Minute, which brings you a curated selection of the most important retail headlines every morning, and our Retail Technology Spotlight series, which goes deep each week on the latest retail technology trends. Today is July 10th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Mazenga.
I think I'm still Chris Walton.
And we are here once again to discuss and debate the most important headlines from the past week. Chris, I'm going to steal a question to kick off the show from one of my favorite podcasts called Fashion People.
Fashion People. Okay.
Yes. We just had a holiday weekend here in the US. What did you buy this weekend that was most memorable?
Oh, wow. Interesting question. And I don't normally buy myself a lot of stuff, but I did actually buy myself a new pair of sunglasses, Anne.
You did?
Yeah. I went to
Where?
Warby, picked up a pair of Hatchers. They're supposed to get here tomorrow.
Nice.
And they have progressive lenses because I am that age, and I need to be able to see things up close and far away. But
nothing says elderly aging than progressive sunglasses.
The progressive sunglasses, yes, progressive stylish sunglasses. Yeah, but I gotta think there's a reason you asked me that question. What did you buy anything for yourself over this holiday?
No,
weekend?
I didn't. I was just expecting like packages of fireworks or like, sort of
too dangerous, man. Too dangerous.
True.
And too expensive.
I suppose.
I would probably blow off my hand with fireworks. You don't want me with fireworks.
Definitely possible. Yes. Fireworks, and most people should
Did
not
you have
be.
those videos in like grade school? We did in Arizona where they'd have like kids play with fireworks and the kid would like lose his hand and stuff. Like,
oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Like
to try to scare you about fireworks, because they were definitely not allowed in Arizona. No.
Some after school
climb.
Yeah, some after school special, I'm sure, was run on repeat the week before 4th of July of how to
they
run
probably
away,
started Ben Affleck or something, like back in his Voyage of the Mimi days. But yeah.
I feel like the kids have a healthier fear of fireworks these days. Maybe I'm totally blind and it's just my kids, but I feel like they know, like, we're going to stay back. We're going to stay back and stay alive, or whatever the expression is.
Yeah, it's a good point. It feels like kids have a healthier fear of all the things that we weren't fearful of, and then just an absolute unabashed desire to do all the things that we as adults are fearful of, like i.e. social media, and jump right into it,
Sure. Why not? Put yourself out there.
But speaking of that, why don't we play the social media pundit role here and get to this week's podcast? What do you say?
All right, let's do it. Let's go to the headlines.
All right. In this week's Fast Five, we've got news on Walmart bringing its Store Assist platform to Co-op in the UK, Circle K using iPads for in-store training, Hy-Vee enabling online orders to be paid for via PayPal and Venmo, McDonald's and Walmart trying to give their workers college credit for doing their actual jobs. But we begin today with big merger news. And
Yes, Chris, that's right. Saks is acquiring Neiman Marcus. According to NPR, Saks Fifth Avenue's parent company, Hudson's Bay Company, is buying Neiman Marcus for $2.6 billion in a merger that would create a dominant upscale department store in the US. Amazon will take a stake in the new combined company, slated to provide technology and logistics as part of the deal, while another tech partner, Salesforce, will also be a minority shareholder. And the head of Saks.com, Mark Metrick, will run the new
Mm.
combined firm, Saks Global. Chris, what do you think of this new merger between Saks and Neiman Marcus, and particularly the Amazon tech angle that comes with it?
Wow. Whenever I see these headlines, and I think I've talked about this on the show, but it was a while ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago. I'm always reminded of what Bob Ulrich, the former CEO of Target, told a bunch of
Mm,
senior buyers and me when Kmart and Sears got together. And he said, I'll never forget, he said, and two wrongs never make a right. And that's kind of what I think about this, but I don't think the two wrongs are as egregious as they were in the case of Sears and Kmart. I don't
okay.
think they're in as dire of straits. So I think this is more like circling the wagons or strength in numbers in a lot of ways. But
Hmm.
long term, other than like bringing two of the most sought after luxury department stores together, I don't really see any major value here from the combined entity. I don't see what what the plus up is at the end of the day.
Sure.
And then on the Amazon angle, last week they were copycatting Shein. We talked about that on the podcast ad nauseum. This week they're investing in a luxury entity. I mean, you got to pick which side you're going to be on here, Amazon. You can't play both sides of the equation. And so to me, I think that part of this story is a little bit of a nothing burger, honestly. And long term, I do wonder if Amazon ever is going to make a dent in high end fashion, which, honestly seems unlikely at this point to me, given the history that we've seen from them over the past 10 to 15 years, particularly. So that's my take. I don't know. You have anything,
I,
any
I
unique color to add there? It sounds like you
I
might.
I do. I mean, I think the Amazon angle is less about them trying to get into the luxury space and more about them trying to sell their back end like tech platform, and really using like
Yeah.
even things like buy with Prime being available on these sites, like Saks, Neiman Marcus, like all these things
Yeah.
are still taking 3 to 5 days to get to consumers for standard shipping. So I think that there's
Yeah.
some benefits that Amazon could provide from a back end perspective. I really think it's less about them being like a luxury destination, because I agree with you. I don't think that's a possibility. But I do hope that with this merger that we see them join forces and scale back. I think it goes back to me
Interesting.
reminiscent of, what happens when you go to Paris and you go to Le Bon Marche, or Samaritan, or like any of these department stores, really kind of, I would say, echoing the only other place that we have in the US that's like that, and that's a Bergdorf that still has that like
Right.
feeling and nostalgia, and like it's a destination. I'm curious if Saks and Neiman can come together and really start to scale back the number of stores that they have and the
Mm.
resources that they're allocating with this merger, and really figure out how to get back to like being that destination place, where you can provide the full department store experience, and less about like spreading 85 Saks stores across the country, because I think luxury shoppers are just shopping differently.
Yeah.
They like the
Mhm.
destination, but a lot of the stuff, they have a lot of opportunities to get that stuff online, and I don't know that you need that many bricks and mortar locations.
Yeah, or go smaller like we've seen other people do. I think your point's really interesting because I was thinking about, it's funny, overnight I was thinking about like how keyed up you were to go to like the Gucci outlet mall in Barcelona. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
And like
right.
and you I don't think in all our travels you've ever been like, I need to go to Saks, I
Right.
need to go to Neiman's this weekend. And so I think you could create that type of flagship experience, but at the end of the day, this is still publicly held companies, and like that's not going to be good for growth if you consolidate that much too. So I still
Right.
wonder about the long-term prospects here. And me thinking about how you shop, particularly for luxury, not to say that you're a sample size of one, of course, but
Hmm.
I think it is emblematic of how people are thinking about this space now in terms of, what drives them to places. And I just don't think they have the cachet anymore. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I think it depends.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist how it is currently. Like it's not going to be successful how it exists currently. I think it really has to go back to, and I think I look back to Le Bon Marche that we went to in Paris, where it's
Yeah.
like you have the luxury brands and you still get that experience, the browsing, the inspiration experience. But then like in the same building on the fourth floor, you have a total floor packed full of resale goods. You have the luxury consignment, like the next entry point for people to get inspired and then go upstairs and maybe like have that. But it definitely requires a strategy shift from Saks and Neiman's. They can't just exist as is.
Yeah. And extra credit to you, Ann, for trying to do the French pronunciation during that headline. That's always an aggressive move. So I always try to steer away from that, but kudos to you for going after it. I highly respect that. All right. Headline number 2, Co-op has teamed up with Walmart to expand its online grocery offering. According to payments.com, which is actually spelled Pymnts, or Pyments, if you're being specific. The cooperative convenience store network out of the UK, Co-op, announced Friday that it will work with Walmart Commerce Technologies to implement its online fulfillment technology, Store Assist. Walmart Commerce Technologies Store Assist, Co-op said in a news release, lets retailers manage, pick up, third-party marketplace, ship from store, and last-mile delivery orders from a single platform. Quote, this streamlined omni-channel fulfillment workflow will enhance in-store processes and operations, remove the need for colleagues to switch between quick commerce apps or different devices, and allows for faster delivery times, enabling Co-op to better serve its member owners and customers, end quote, the company said. And do you think inking a deal with Co-op is the first of many more wins to come for Walmart Commerce Technologies?
Yes, absolutely.
You do.
Wins all around here. I remember,
yeah.
like, immediately went back to our interview with Anshu Bardwaj from Walmart Commerce Technologies. Her telling us, number one, this is tried and true tech that's been stress tested to the max. It's being updated constantly as they gather intel from their 4,000 plus stores in the US. And now for Co-op with 2,500 stores, this will help them better utilize team members' time. And I just was on a panel, Chris, with Scandit, where they partner with a research agency called Coleman Parks, and they did a survey of frontline workers. And I think that something that they found in that survey is really important here, because it found that 61% of store associates said that optimized devices, which this Walmart Commerce Technologies is going to help with at Co-op, they help associates' ability to deliver better customer experiences, improve employee happiness, and boost productivity. So I think that alone is one other reason for Co-op to just start to deploy this, especially with a store like theirs that's dedicated to everything food, but then also things like funeral care and insurance, which I imagine take a little bit more time to help your customers figure out than, you know, just checking them out and making sure that they have their bread and milk. But Chris, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, those do seem a little more complicated than bread and milk. Or maybe not. I don't know. I've never thought about that. I agree with you. I think it's a big deal. I think you know, it only takes one domino to fall or one spark to start a prairie fire. And the thing I love most about what Walmart is doing here is that we talk all the time about Amazon, its flywheel. We just started talking about it on the last headline, or it actually came up in that last headline about selling the software infrastructure that makes digital commerce go. But the last time I checked, Ann, honestly, 80+% of commerce still happens through a physical store. So, and you know who gets the physical side of retailing better than anyone is Walmart. So there's got to be a lot of software to sell to improve the physical store operations day in and day out, which is why I personally love what Doug McMillan is doing with under Anshu Bardwaj's leadership here at Walmart Commerce Technologies. It just seems so smart, and particularly in Europe, where this is going to take on a lot faster than here in the States. And Co-op, I think, is the first domino to fall, 100%.
Right. I was just going to say, like, the European and UK market is huge for Walmart Commerce Technologies. It makes a lot of sense. And I also think this will give Walmart Commerce Technologies a little better insight too into quick commerce. Like, we didn't, you know, Co-op does have that quick commerce, so that convenience angle too. So I think that's even better. It's just, it helps everyone, all boats rise, because they also have this experience in a traditional mass retail experience, but then also in convenience and shorter term delivery. So
yeah, it's a great point, Ann, because Walmart's going to learn from selling the technologies to other retailers to make their own technology better, which is just a really smart play. That's why I wish more retailers would think about this.
Headline number 3, Circle K plans to leverage iPads and games for in-store training. According to Chain Store Age, the global convenience retailer is replacing traditional store associate training methods via a new training approach known as My Journey. My Journey leverages gamified training software delivered via in-store iPads designed to get new hires learning on the floor in the flow of work to help retain them beyond the 6-month mark. Circle K hopes to save millions of dollars in annual training costs with this approach. Chris, first of all, are you buying or selling training convenience store employees with gamified iPads? And second, this is the A&M put you on the spot question
I
of the
get
week.
a twofer, Ann, a twofer.
Yes, devised once again by the A&M CRG interns. They want to know, how big of a role do you think training programs play in C-store associates' desires to stick with a retailer? And therefore, do you think the bigger benefit to My Journey will be higher retention or improved effectiveness on the job by the employees who do stay the course?
Oh my God. Okay. So there's a lot in both those questions. I think both are really important. I think first the gamified iPads.
Yes.
I guess I'm buying it because honestly, anything is better than paper manuals, which it sounds like from the article, that's what Circle K has been using all these years. But with that said, I'm kind of like, the announcement felt a little PR heavy to me. If you read it, it was very PR-ish.
Yes.
And then secondly, it also feels really like 2013-ish, I thought, Anne, as well.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, why hasn't this already happened? Which then brings me back to my answer to the A&M question, which is, I don't think it's an either or. I think if you're doing this right, you should get the benefits on both sides of this. You should get, better retention and easier training because people know how to do their jobs. And hopefully that'll move things in the direction that you want to in the long run. I mean, that's my take on those two answers. It's kind of like, okay, I guess. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you do this? I guess. And you can evaluate whether it works over time, but I don't know. What do you think? You like this story. You wanted to include this one.
I do, because I think that what you just said is the most important part of this. Like, they finally have the ability to measure this across the board, and they have thousands of convenience stores. So I think you're able to see with the collection of data, what's working, what are people getting through, where are they struggling, where can you improve on the training process. And it seems like an overwhelming majority, 91% of their employees, preferred this gamified method over the old ways of e-learning, which I don't think anybody's surprised to hear. But I think it's just, you get consistency, you get compliance across the board, you get to measure engagement, and everything can be updated when there's a new change with one app update. You're not relying on the managers of each individual store to clip the new thing into the binder and make,
which is a disaster. I've lived through that. It sucks. Right. It's terrible.
So I think this also, it gives people flexibility to be training in the moments. It can be on their mobile devices, on the iPads. And finally, I think if you look at the success of things like Duolingo, it's taken off. So many people are using it and engaging with it. I am using it more than I thought I would be. I think there's something to this gamification that sure maybe feels a little 2013, like you said, but has the potential to do some good and just change the overall way that you're approaching some of this very boring, tedious onboarding.
We have reached an important milestone, and Duolingo has been dropped in a retail podcast. That's great. So, Anne, my only question for you is, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Don't answer it now. Don't answer it now. Don't answer it now. It might soften your point. All right. Headline number 4. Oh my God. Too much fun. We have too much fun on this show. Hy-Vee has added digital payment options from PayPal and Venmo for pickup and delivery orders. According to Chain Store Age, starting Monday, July 8th, 2024, PayPal and Venmo payment options are available to Hy-Vee customers using its Aisles Online platform for digital grocery pickup and delivery orders. And so we're going back to you on this one. Are you pro or con the addition of Venmo as an online payment option at Hy-Vee?
I love this. Listen,
you do.
Cash is still king in our country, but Venmo and PayPal are not far behind it. I think that, you're also seeing personal checks go away. We saw eBay this week also announce that they'll be taking Venmo as payment. all like at the for the bottom line of this is that it's just going to give more flexibility to all people, especially people who have independent businesses or small businesses. They now can take those Venmo payments that they're getting from everybody. They can go and have access to the most convenient online grocery ordering option for them, which could be curbside pickup in this case from Hy-Vee. It could be grocery delivery, and gives more people a reason to choose Hy-Vee. So I'm all in on it. I love it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you know, it's crazy too, and like I've been surprised at how you alluded to the Target not taking checks story that broke
Right.
last week, right? That story is like number one on everything, and I'm like, wow, that's a story. Like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, it's probably like the tiniest of tiniest percents of the business now, but yeah, we're doing great on time on this show too. So stick around for the lightning round because we're gonna have a lot of time to go through it and get into some fun banter. But and I think I like this one too. I mean, for the same reasons you did. I mean, my big question is I would love to know what percent of orders are actually getting handled via Venmo at some point in time.
Mhm.
Like how many people actually prefer to pay this way?
Yeah.
How big a proportion of the population is it? That's a statistic I want to know. There's probably some studies out there that I need to dig into and look into that. But net net, I think it makes grocery shopping more accessible, like you said. And it probably drives comp, in a
Mhm.
business that likely needs it too. It probably drives comp at the end of the day because, and actually, the grocery outlook just came out from a few people this week, and the grocery outlook for the next year is kind of dire. Like, there's
Mhm.
there's not a lot of growth forecasted in grocery next year. People are very skeptical, and the profits are going to be thin. So, anytime you can get comp on your current operating base, it's going to be a good for your business. So I like that, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we see more grocers go in this direction or more retailers, quite honestly,
Right.
for the same reasons.
Right. Also love that Hy-Vee's kind of their expansion plans are really going into communities in the suburbs that are just starting to build and develop too. So I think that's even more like a reason for them to start considering alternate payment options when you have large populations of people moving into these new communities who this might be their first home. Like this might be an opportunity for them
Mhm.
to just kind of have a little bit more flexibility than
Yeah.
the standard methods.
Yeah, and the last point I'd make too is people that, come from Iowa or rooted in Iowa, they're just generally really smart people. I think that's another thing that another point that I would make here. Those Iowans, they just get things.
Specifically because you were born in Iowa. Is
Yes, I
that
was.
is that where
Des
we're
Moines,
going with this?
Iowa. And
Okay.
yes, that's right. Thank you for letting the
Don't
audience in
don't
on that.
mind the fact that you immediately moved to Arizona, but yes, born in Iowan roots. There we go.
For 6 months in Des Moines, Iowa. And yes, that's
Great.
right.
All right, let's move on to headline number 5. Walmart and McDonald's are trying to give their workers college credit for doing their jobs. According to NPR, the two companies, in addition to others, are now broaching a new frontier in higher education, i.e., convincing colleges to give retail and fast food workers credit for what they learn on the job, counting toward a degree. However, many American universities have long offered credit for corporate training by companies like Google, IBM, or Microsoft, but work in retail and fast food in the process is nascent. As a result, McDonald's is working with several community colleges to build a path for converting on the job skills like safe food handling or customer service into credit towards degrees in culinary arts, hospitality, or insurance. And Walmart also has over a dozen short form certificates and 25 training courses in tech, leadership, and digital operations that translate to credit at partner universities. Chris, are you all in on retail and fast food workers earning college credit for doing their jobs?
Ooh, yeah, I would say 100% yes, I am, man.
Yes.
100% yes, I am. I think I'm generally always in favor of an approach of getting something in value in exchange for something else of value. I like that type of setup. I think things generally work when things are set up that way. And I can tell you too firsthand that the average part-time sales floor manager working his or way up a Walmart or at a Target knows way more about running an actual business and how the world works than say someone that got his degree in economics from Stanford University. And yes, and I might resemble that remark. I mean, heck, you get college credit for AP history and biology. Why shouldn't you get college credit for going through the Walmart HR hiring and training processes? Those are probably so much more valuable when you get right
Right.
down to it in terms of helping you live a better life and being skilled to take on the challenges of the working world. So I think these are valuable life skills. I love that Walmart's doing this. I love that Walmart is talking about it in the media again. They're again out in front of everything, particularly on their employee side of things too. I mean, we've heard a lot of stories from them this year. So yes, unequivocally love, love, love.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think every kid should have to work in the service industry at some point in their lives before they go into adulthood. And I think
Wow,
this
that's a
is
bold statement.
I do. I think it gives it gives these kids a pretty good incentive for them to actually go in and learn that. And I like the opportunity of it's not AP biology, it's not AP English. Like there's other opportunities and other life skills that can get you further when you start and are exposed to them earlier. I think this is something that we should even start to consider seeing like Home Depot doing as far as their trades program is concerned. Like they're going into high schools and talking about it, but how are they facilitating people who are able to get into the real world to start learning trades and getting actual credit, monetary credit for their next school year, whether that's going into higher education, whether that's going into a trade school. Like there is great value, like you said, to allowing people access to these opportunities that are real world approaches and real training on life and how to deal with people and how to deal with a business, which I think is the biggest deficit right now in American education, at least. So I'm huge on this. I think both McDonald's and Walmart deserve huge kudos for this.
Yeah, there's a lot of rows to hoe with this. That's what I'm trying to say, not rows to hose,
Yeah.
but rows to hoe with this because if you think about it, there's a lot of ways to think about this and reinvent it and really create something that's kind of new and cool as I'm sitting there listening to you talk. So yeah, it's awesome.
And potentially solves the issues with trying to find people to work in these jobs also, which we don't mention here at the forefront, but it does solve that problem when you're giving greater incentive, I think.
Which goes back to the value exchange, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's fundamental to, how, I mean, that's fundamental to how American capitalism tends to work too, is,
Right.
when you get that value exchange going, things happen in good ways. So, all right.
All right, let's go to the lightning round. Chris, question number one. Taco Bell is back at it. They are resurrecting their Taco Bell experiences for rewards members at a resort in Florida. The theme of this year's event, for some reason, is early retirement, featuring activities like shuffleboard, golf, pickleball, and others. Chris, what senior inspired activity would you most want to go into early retirement to do?
This question is so ridiculous. First of all, I don't know that Taco Bell spurs early retirement. I think it might spur early something else if you eat too much of it. But but for me, I mean, to answer the question specifically, Ed, I think I would say the thing I'm most looking forward to in retirement is day drinking and followed by naps. And day
Yes.
drinking and naps. That's
Oh,
that's what I want. I want the 10 or 11 o'clock like brunch alcoholic beverage. I mean, I've been talking about alcohol a lot on this show lately. I hope I'm not giving the wrong impression to everybody.
no, I love that idea. I think that sounds great. Like, what do you have to worry about doing? Like going to water aerobics when you wake up and then you just sip on some cocktails starting at lunchtime?
Right,
Right.
right.
In
I mean,
bed by 5:30 or
yeah,
6?
I
Sounds
can't
like a
remember the
day.
last time I napped either. I mean, I miss a good nap. All right, next one. Cup of Noodles has launched its first dessert ramen, and it's s'mores flavored, believe it or not. Ugh.
Ugh.
And do you like to prepare? How do you like to prepare your marshmallows for a good s'more? What is the secret to marshmallow s'more preparation?
Ooh, I'm not a big s'mores fan. I really don't like I'm not a marshmallow fan. I think that's the
Oh,
problem. If I am going to eat them though, it's absolutely mandatory to swap out the Hershey's bar for a Reese's peanut butter cup. So
okay, well, that's
that's it.
fine, but if you're gonna have one, so, like, do you like your marshmallow, like, burnt to a crisp, or do you like it, like, lightly brown? Or do you even not like it, like,
I think that's the problem.
warmed at all?
I don't like it when it's not warm enough, and I don't like it when it's burnt, and I feel like you just so rarely get that perfect in between, because it's
So
gotta
you're
be
like
all the way melted. If
so you're like
like
the marshmallow Goldilocks, yeah, and that's what you
I
are? You're like
am.
the marshmallow
I know.
Goldilocks?
I know. I'm the
Wow.
s'mores, I just think
Alright.
you're taking a very
Don't take Ann
specialized.
camping.
Yeah, don't in
Well, for
general. But
lots
if
of reasons, yeah,
yes,
right?
right. I don't know that the s'mores is the make or break, but yes, don't take me camping. Yes. I think it's a very difficult technique that you're requiring people of all ages to perfect, and for me it's not there. Sorry. Let's go to question number 3, Chris. A Florida man, which is never good to start anything out with Florida man.
That's
Florida
probably
man
true,
was
actually.
recently arrested for shooting through a Walmart
Oh my
delivery
God.
drone. And yes, we paid it off, folks, which is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Did you know that?
No, I did not, but
Shooting at
it
an
kind of makes sense.
aircraft.
If you're shooting something you're not supposed
Yes.
to. Yeah.
Yes. So Chris, I want to know, if you were leading the drone initiative at Walmart, what's one thing you'd put into action and that would try to help prevent more drone fatalities?
Oh man. Off the top of my head, I think we've got to figure out a way to equip the drones with like the equivalent of cop body cameras, like as they're flying around. Because then I think you could honestly make a show out of it. You could have like a new Netflix show or a TikTok series called Crazy Stuff People Do to Drones,
I mean,
like
I imagine, don't they have that? Isn't that part of the drone? Like, they have to have a camera that's like somebody's watching, right?
I don't know. Somebody should turn it into entertainment because, you probably got people coming out in their bathrobes.
Yeah.
You probably have people coming out naked. You probably have people yelling at the drone,
Oh my
shooting
God.
at the drone,
I cannot
spraying water at the
imagine.
drone. I don't know, but like the content on that is endless. I gotta think, right, Ann?
Oh God, yeah. There will be. If there isn't already, this is going to be the first thing on Walmart's new Vivo TV Vivo partnership or whatever.
Yeah,
they
right.
have. Like, their first content stream is all the drones getting shot down.
Crazy stuff you do with drones. All right, last one. A Delta flight to Amsterdam was recently rerouted to New York City because 12 passengers ate spoiled in-flight meals. And my hunch is those were in first class too, because they're the first people to get served the food. Given this news, when offered the option of pasta or chicken on a flight, which one do you usually go with?
Oh man, it's definitely back to pasta after hearing this.
I think so too, right?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't seem like
There's so
they
much
got that
cheese in their
sick.
pastas,
Like,
though.
everybody got off and was like, okay, and no one had to be hospitalized or anything. They
It
were
was like,
just like,
but it was violently quick sick, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I'm
Ugh.
guessing like they were just like, let me get to a bathroom pronto. I don't need to be assessed by a medical professional. We all know where this is going. But I think that, yeah, the pasta just like, I don't know, it makes me feel so like bloated. It's so salty and cheesy. Like, I don't know, but it is a safe thing. It like sinks to the bottom of your belly so you can get a good sleep while you're going over the ocean.
So you're going pasta from now on. Yeah, right. All right. Well, that closes us up. Fast, fun show today. Happy birthday today to Fiona Shaw, Jessica Simpson, and to the man who I know at least one time, I think he probably still does, sits at the apex of Ann Mazinga's hall pass list, the great Adrian Grenier.
Oh,
Grenier or Grenier? Grenier, right?
Grenier.
Grenier. Okay. Grenier.
Yeah.
I don't know. Grenier.
I don't know, but
who knows?
He can sit wherever he wants. He
was
is
good.
Amazing.
He was good for one show, but anyway,
doesn't matter.
I could go on a rant about Mr. Adrian for a long time.
Oh, we're not. I'm not. No one's concerned about his acting career. Let's be honest.
No.
He's just like, oh yeah,
pleasing to look at. Pleasing to look at.
What a guy.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So he still sits at the apex of Ann's hall pass list.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, if you could only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it Omni Talk, the only retail media outlet run by 2 former executives from a current top 10 U.S. retailer. Our Fast 5 podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news. And our daily newsletter, the Retail Daily Minute, tells you all you need to know each day to stay on top of your game as a retail executive, and also regularly features exclusive content that we do just for you, and we take a lot of pride in doing so. So thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. And you can follow us today by simply going to youtube.com/OmniTalkRetail, which is the best way to listen and watch this podcast each and every week. So until next week, on behalf of all of us at Omni Talk Retail, from Ann and myself, as always, be careful out there.